Australia is no stranger to heated debates on migration, but rarely do we see the kind of spectacle that unfolded recently. A Liberal MP took aim at Prime Minister Anthony Albanese with accusations that the government's migration figures are not just inaccurate but wildly misleading. The MP claimed Albanese's estimates were so far off they made a drunk dart thrower look precise. It was a speech drenched in emotion, patriotism, and warnings about national values, all tied together with statistics that painted a picture of a government losing control of Australia's borders and its promises. At the heart of the MP's speech was one undeniable point: the numbers don't add up. According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, net overseas migration peaked at 556,000 in 2022-23, before falling back to 316,000 in the year to March 2025. Those are not small fluctuations. When a government promises to return migration closer to pre-pandemic levels, around 230,000 annually by mid-2025, but consistently misses the mark, it undermines public confidence in the system itself. The MP accused Albanese's government of underestimating migration by hundreds of thousands. In the first year alone, the government allegedly let in 300,518 more people than it claimed it would. In the second year, the shortfall was 200,098. By the third year, the gap narrowed but still remained a staggering 100,000. All told, over the government's first 3 years, migration exceeded estimates by around 600,000. To the MP, this was not just a statistical error but a betrayal of trust, proof that Labour had lost control of migration policy. But the attack was not limited to numbers. The MP leaned heavily on cultural and patriotic themes, telling Australians that feeling uneasy about migration does not make them racist or xenophobic. Many Australians, the speech suggested, look at their country today and fail to recognize it. Rising housing costs, crowded cities, and social tensions fuel the sense that something has gone wrong. By framing these concerns as mainstream rather than fringe, the MP sought to legitimize the discomfort many feel but are often too hesitant to voice aloud. The imagery used was striking. References to families quietly gathering across the nation, to adolescents and grandparents alike standing together in patriotic pride, were designed to build a sense of unity. The MP positioned these Australians as defenders of a timeless national identity, one rooted in fairness, freedom, and tolerance. But at the same time, the speech warned of threats: people who burn the national flag, extremists who carry the banners of terrorist groups, and those who allegedly reject Australian values altogether. One of the more provocative lines was the insistence that migration should be about more than just numbers, it should be about values. The MP argued that Australia cannot afford to welcome those who seek to import division, hatred, or extremism. This is where the rhetoric sharpened into a moral boundary. Migration, yes, but only for those who truly respect Australia, its flag, its freedoms, and the sacrifices of its forebears. The speech insisted that those unable to embrace these ideals should have no place in the country. The MP also moved to distance themselves from extremism, insisting there is no room for fascists or Nazis in Australia either. This was a deliberate attempt to carve out space between the mainstream concerns of ordinary Australians and the extremist fringes. By acknowledging this, the MP attempted to inoculate themselves against accusations of pandering to the far right. Still, the repeated mention of terrorists, flag burning, and imported hatred made it clear that the speech was designed to stir cultural anxieties as much as to highlight economic challenges. Housing was a central theme. The MP linked the surge in migration directly to Australia's chronic housing crisis, noting that it is impossible to build enough homes fast enough when an additional 600,000 people arrive beyond forecasts. The result, they argued, is predictable: skyrocketing rents, home ownership slipping further out of reach, and infrastructure stretched to breaking point. Here, the attack landed hardest. Because while migration estimates may be fuzzy, Australians feel the housing crunch every day, and tying the two issues together makes for a potent political weapon. Beyond housing, the MP pointed to infrastructure and public services. Schools, hospitals, and transport systems all struggle under sudden population growth, especially when the government itself miscalculates the scale. To the MP, this was not just about mismanagement but about dishonesty. If the government cannot be straight with Australians about how many people are coming in, how can it possibly plan properly for the future? This, they suggested, is not just incompetence, it is negligence that risks the stability of the entire system. The speech carried an undercurrent of frustration at the media as well. The MP accused mainstream outlets of focusing disproportionately on extremists, fascists, neo-Nazis, fringe protesters, while ignoring the voice of everyday Australians who feel let down by government. This double standard, they claimed, silences legitimate concerns and paints ordinary people as bigots simply for questioning migration levels. It was a direct appeal to those who feel alienated from the public debate, reframing them as the true patriots whose voices deserve to be heard. One of the most emotionally charged passages was the focus on the Australian flag. The MP argued that if newcomers cannot look at the flag with pride, they should not be here at all. They tied the flag to soldiers who wear it overseas, to coffins of those who have died in service, and to the unifying symbol of national identity. It was designed to be visceral, to cut through statistics and reach into the realm of emotion, where symbols and sacrifices resonate more deeply than any spreadsheet could. The broader message was clear: migration policy is not just about numbers, it is about control, honesty, and national identity. To lose control of migration, the MP argued, is to lose the confidence of the people in the very idea of migration itself. For decades, Australia has been a nation built on immigration, but that system only works if Australians trust that it is fair, transparent, and sustainable. By allegedly blowing past their own targets by hundreds of thousands, the Albanese government has, in the MP's words, jeopardized that trust. The attack extended to values. The MP insisted that Australians need confidence that migrants come here for the right reasons, to embrace freedom, democracy, and opportunity, not to import division or conflict. They framed this as a question of survival. To preserve a free and democratic society, migration must be carefully managed. Without confidence in values, numbers alone mean nothing. It was a call for a migration system that is selective not just in who comes, but in why they come and what they stand for. The MP acknowledged that migration is complex, involving students, temporary visa holders, partner visas, and asylum seekers. But the point was not complexity, it was credibility. If the government cannot even count arrivals correctly, how can it claim to manage these complexities with competence? To many Australians, the technical details don't